Chapter 2. Making a Home. After resting for a while, Robinson walked around anxiously as night approached. Wet, cold, and hungry, he feared wild beasts might emerge from the woods and attack him while he slept. Discovering his knife still in his pocket, he cut a sturdy stick for protection and climbed a tree with thick foliage. Settling himself among the branches, he fell into a deep sleep. When he awoke, the storm had passed, and the sea was calmer. To his amazement, the ship had drifted much closer to shore during the night, and now lay near the rock where he had first washed up. By midday, the tide had receded enough for him to approach the ship. Stripping off his clothes, he swam to it, but found it difficult to climb aboard, since the ship rested high on the sand. After circling the vessel twice, he spotted a rope hanging near the bow and used it to haul himself aboard. The stern of the ship was dry, and the provisions were mostly intact. Robinson ate some biscuits, drank rum, and regained his strength. Determined to salvage useful items, he pushed large spars and a spare topmast overboard, tying them together to create a makeshift raft. He reinforced it with planks, though constructing it took much effort. He loaded the raft with 3 empty seamen's chests, which he filled with bread, rice, cheese, and other necessities. He also retrieved a carpenter's tool chest, which proved invaluable, along with clothing, guns, pistols, powder, and shot. The tide began rising, and though the raft was heavy and lacked proper steering, it slowly drifted toward land. The current carried it into a small river, where it nearly capsized before Robinson managed to guide it into a shallow bay. When the tide went out, the raft rested on the ground, allowing him to unload his supplies. Robinson climbed a hill to survey the land. To his dismay, he discovered he was on an isolated island, with no signs of people and only a few smaller islands visible in the distance. Apart from numerous birds, which were unfit to eat, the land seemed barren of life. Using the chests and planks he had brought ashore, Robinson built a simple hut on the sand to sleep in. For the next 2 weeks, he swam to the ship daily, salvaging supplies including powder, shot, muskets, barrels of bread, casks of rum, flour, sugar, nails, and tools. He crafted a tent from one of sails to protect his goods from the elements and surrounded it with heavy items to deter wild animals. One stormy night, strong winds shattered the ship. By then, Robinson had salvaged nearly everything useful, so its loss did not trouble him greatly. Recognizing the need for a better campsite, he explored the island and found a small plain beside a large rock partially hollowed like a cave. Here, he pitched his tent and fortified the area with double rows of sharpened stakes. Since the fence had no door, Robinson used a ladder to climb in and out, which he pulled up for added security. Inside the enclosure, he dug into the rock to create a cave where he safely stored 140 pounds of gunpowder in small parcels, fearing a thunderstorm might ignite it. He gradually expanded the cave to make room for his supplies, creating a terrace around the stockade with the removed earth and rock. Robinson also fashioned basic furniture, including a table and chair, but producing each board was laborious, requiring him to fell a tree and shape it with his tools. His shelter, which he called his castle, became increasingly comfortable. However, one day, the unreinforced roof partially collapsed, burying many of his belongings and forcing him to spend weeks clearing debris and propping up the roof with sturdy beams. Despite his industriousness, loneliness weighed heavily on him. Each day, he climbed the hill to scan the horizon, hoping to spot a ship. None appeared, and he often wept in despair. At times, he even considered building a boat and risking the open sea rather than remaining stranded. Over time, Robinson grew more resilient. He befriended 2 cats and a dog that had survived the wreck, and their companionship eased his solitude. He kept a diary, using ink and paper from the ship, and carved a wooden cross to mark the date of his arrival, September 30th, 1659, adding a notch each day to track time. Food was plentiful. Goats roamed the island, and pigeons were easy to hunt. To expand his living space, Robinson enlarged the cave further, building shelves and even a door for the outer entrance. These improvements made his castle a secure and functional home, allowing him to focus on survival while keeping alive a fragile hope of rescue.